just south of Seneca Lake. Amidst the rolling vineyards and woodlands in upstate New York's Finger Lakes region sits a shrine of American motorsport. Watkins Glen International is more than just a racetrack. It's the birthplace of post-war road racing in North America, a worthy test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Today, the Glen hosts NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series racing, as well as a 6-hour crown jewel of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, SCCA Pro and Amateur Racing, ARCA Menard Series, and SVRA Vintage Racing. Over the years, the Glen has been lengthened once and continually upgraded, and a lap around today's Grand Prix circuit still incorporates much of the original layout. The first turn is known as the 90, a right-hander and a good place to pass. Then it's up toward the S's, a series of 3 fast sweeping apexes leading onto the back straightaway. The cars reach their top speed here before hard braking before the bus stop at the end of the straight. Here the track deviates from its original circuit downhill to the left, the laces, then the short chute into the right-hander named the toe. This is the long course, not what we're running tonight, but it's a banked uphill hairpin to another straight away down into another right-hand turn, the heel, then it's up to a quick turn left, turn number 9, where the boot rejoins the original circuit, tricky because it's off camber, followed by an even quicker turn 10 and almost flat-out left-hander. The final corner, turn 11, is another fast right-hander that leads out onto the main straight. Racing first came into the Glen in 1948 in the form of the Watkins Glen Grand Prix, an SCCA-sanctioned event that ran on a more than 6-mile course over the back roads of the town in what is now a state park. The success of that event eventually led to the construction of a permanent racing facility. The resulting product, a little more than a third in length of the original street course. In 1957, the track hosted its first race, a NASCAR Grand National Series event won by Buck Baker over Fireball Roberts. The following year, Formula Libre showed up, and not long after that, Watkins Glen hit the big time. In 1961, Formula One came to the little town by the lake, bringing with it some of the most legendary names in motorsports. For the next 2 decades, the home of the United States Grand Prix was Watkins Glen. The early 80s saw some tough times for the Glen. F1 held its last race there in 1980, and it was closed to all but spectator-free SCCA meets for 2 years. The track would soon recover under new ownership. In 1986, NASCAR's Top Series returned to the Glen, and with it, a whole new renaissance for the track began. Tonight, it's the HBR TV 45 at the Glen, and it's next, fittingly, on HBR TV. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to upstate New York, Watkins Glen International, the home of American road racing. I'm Steve Singer, joined in the broadcast booth by Zach Millett. How you doing, Zach?
Hey, Steve. How we doing, man?
We're doing well. We're just actually fresh off a race weekend here at the Glen, so this one's going to be kind of a remedial review. I mean, I don't know how you want to place this one, but it is what it is. But qualifying just about actually already underway. Practice in the books. We'll take a look at the race details for tonight. 78-degree ambient temperature, 54% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 2-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature well up into the hundreds, 122 degrees Fahrenheit to be specific. Very warm. Certainly going to pose some challenges for the drivers here tonight, not only in qualifying, but in the race as well. Let's not give it too much of a delay here. Let's go right down trackside and see where everybody's shaking out. Dan Storm on the racetrack. Many others as well. Millett, I know this is one of your favorite places. Of course, it's a home race, home track for myself and you alike.
Yeah, this is my favorite track by far. I mean, heck, I'm still sunburned from leaving there last week. So.
Yeah, my forehead's peeling too. It was a combination of sunburn and freezing our tails off during that ARCA race on Friday, but it is what it is. Sunny skies here tonight at the virtual Watkins Glen International. We got some guys in the stream chat already. Of course, that S4 guy here in the booth and saying hello. Tristan Sykes, I'm here. How you doing, Tristan? Thanks for being here. Brian Shepard, hoping I can keep it on the track. And a return of Miss Fahey, Mrs. Fahey, Chris Fahey, that is. She says, hi, Steve. We do appreciate you being back here. And Chris Goins, oof, just in time for qualifying.
Man, Chris Goins, he just gets off work just in time to make some of these races. And, I mean, he not only races, he's always competitive, and it's with no practice. I mean, you got to give him some credit.
Yeah, but again, the Glen is... Oh, and Storm gets into the grass. We've seen so many do that on his qualifying lap. It sends him right into the inside Armco. Not a great way to start this one off. Drew Blaze on the racetrack as well. He was quick in practice. I think third fast behind Brett Guzik and Sean Roberts, I think, was the top two in practice. Right now, Brandon Domain the quickest, 1:14.6. Fahey's just about a second off of that. Now Chris Watkins, that is, 4/10 slow. Tristan Sykes. No, Steve, I'm here to watch Fahey wreck. All right, well, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. PJ Cox out there with a pretty quick lap, 14.3.
And to no one's surprise, PJ Cox, a pretty decent road racer, to be honest. So 1:14.3 is the time to beat thus far. Again, Drew Blaze on his out lap. Brock Shepard in the stream chat says, Brian's got this tonight. I'm trying to scroll through, and is Brian Shepard possibly? Brian Shepard in the number 88 machine. Aggressive downshift into the bus stop for Drew Blaze. You heard the RPMs kick sky high. Who cares if you blow it up in qualifying? Blaze could have standed to be a little bit further to the right there on entry to turn number 10. Now, those of you that might have tuned in for the NASCAR Cup Series broadcast here at the Glen last Sunday, they're referring to the final two corners here at the racing circuit as 6 and 7. I'm old school. I count the right, left, right corners in the bus stop. I consider that last two corners to be turn 10 and 11. So does the racetrack. When you buy tickets, they call it turn 10, turn 11. So we're going to stick with that. So the final corner on this racetrack will be turn 11 as we talk about it within the broadcast here tonight. So, Zach, I got to ask, I know this is one of your favorite places to turn laps in, especially in a truck. And I don't know how many secrets you're willing to give up here, but what is the key to success as far as a good lap time around Watkins Glen International?
Well, I mean, the first thing you got to do is not touch any grass on your entry points. That's kind of the hardest thing to do. Wow, as Drew Blaze has a heck of a save there. Getting a little tail happy coming out of the carousel. But you really got to jump the curbs too, and it really unsettles the truck. So it's pretty hairy to do, but it's where the speed is at. You got to commit to it. And these trucks don't have a whole lot of power, so as you can keep the momentum up, it'll only make you quicker.
You know, and with that, talking about hitting the curbs, it's not so much, oh, you got to get the curbs every time. Yes, you do need to kind of take advantage of that curb as Blaze goes 1:14.888. Puts him P5. Guzik now 1:14.01. Good lap for Brett. He's done with his session entirely. Now, Derek Welch was quick in practice, and he loses it in the bus stop. Lap 1, 13th quick, 1:15.9. Lap 2, not going to be worth it at this point. Chris Goins out of turn 11. Let's see what he locks in for lap number 2. Faster, P5, 1:14.6. Good lap for Chris Goins.
Boy, P5, no practice. Good job, Chris.
Well, again, he is a road racer at heart. Shepard on the racetrack, 1:15.2 on his first lap as he gets into the bus stop. But going back to the conversation about the curbs, it's all in how you approach those curbs. Yes, you want to get your truck on top of that curb, especially into the bus stop, but you want to hit the curb with the wheel perfectly straight, because that truck's going to come up in the air. It's going to get light for a moment, but when it lands, right then and there is when you start to hit your left turn into that bus stop. That kind of sets the right front, allows the truck to turn through the corner. You got a left and then another left, and then you've got to kind of set the truck up for another right before you get into the carousel.
Yep, and it always comes down to just get out there and turn as many laps as you can because, you know, as I said, hitting the curbs. There's some curbs you don't want to hit. You don't want to hit the curb here down in 1. It'll upset the truck and ruin your exit. You don't want to hit the curb, the inside curb, I should say, in 10 or 11. It'll do the same thing, but you do want to hit the curb on the exit.
Shepard runs a minute 14.8, puts him P7. But yeah, Zach, you're absolutely right. You really don't want to abuse the curb, especially in a left-hand turn 10, because the truck will over-rotate significantly, and you do run the risk of getting that truck sideways on exit. And it's relatively a low visibility corner, so drivers are less likely to see you spun before they drive right into you. So it can become a problem.
Right, and these trucks just have no weight in the back, too. So once they start getting tail happy, they stay tail happy.
Majority of the field has taken a time here. Tim Tokarski, Jonathan Arnn, Randy Coaching have yet to take a time. Kevin Winker posted some laps, but none that actually registered as official, likely off-tracks related there. iRacing not going to accept those times with the off-track, at least in qualifying. A little less stringent in race trim. Got the ability to kind of go a little outside the lines a little bit during the race, but not so much in qualifying. Right now, Brett Guzik, your fast time, minute 14:01. And as we saw in practice, Sean Roberts, second fast, just 300ths shy of pole.
Yeah, it kind of seems like your normal road course crew up front here.
Due 4 minutes, 16:26 on his first lap. He's got one more to go. Get about 30 seconds left in the session. I'm not 100% sure he's going to be able to finish this lap before they call it. You want to talk about some road course guys? Brett Guzik, actually one of the drivers that myself and Zach Millett raced with, as well as Terry Crouch at the 24 Hours of Daytona iRacing event earlier this year. We managed to sit on the podium. Guzik certainly a very good road racer, but he's shown his prowess even on the oval tracks as well in this series. We'll see if he can maintain that top spot throughout this race. Roberts, of course, was quick. Derek Welch was fast, but that's the session. It's complete. It's over with. Dufour not able to get his second lap in. So with that, let's go to our starting grid. Take a look at where everyone is going to line out here tonight at Watkins Glen International. On the pole position with a lap time, minute 14.019, Brett Guzik in the 04. Outside front row, it's the 66 of Sean Roberts. Again, Sean Roberts been turning laps like crazy over in the PFR Sim Sports Sports Car Championship. He's doing well over there, and obviously putting it on the front row here at the Glen in the truck. Got some road course experience, and he's going to show that here tonight. PJ Cox, row number 2, starting 3rd. Brandon Domain starting in the 4th position. Also a driver that has run some laps over in that PFR Sim Sport League. Chris Gones, same situation for him, starting in P5. Drew Blaze, well, he's good everywhere we go, whether it's dirt, whether it's oval. It doesn't seem to make a difference if it's a road course. He's starting P6. Brian Shepard, we got some fans in the stream chat already for the number 88. He starts P7. Chris Watkins here at Watkins Glen. He'll start in the 8th position. Heath Snyder rolls from 9th. Chris Klein with NTR. He'll start in the 10th position. Starting in the 11th spot in the number 9 with Lonestar Racing, it's Mike Fahey. Scott Beardmore will roll from the 12th starting position. 13th starter, that's Derek Welch. Don't count him out yet. It's not a great starting position based on his practice effort. He will be quick here tonight after a little bit of education from, Zach Millett, of all people. Kevin Grettenberger will start P14. David Dufour, 15th. Mitchell Howell with Warhawk Motorsports, he'll start 16th. Ken Couch starts in the 17th spot with Dan Storm rolling from the 18th starting position. Starting 19th, Justin Johnson in the 10. Jared Haynes will roll from 20th. Kevin Winker, 21st. Jonathan Arnn, 22nd. 23rd, Randy Coaching. 24th, Tim Tokarski, and shotgun on the field.
We got a bunch of EOLs this week, too, so we'll see a lot of trucks dropping towards the end here before the start.
So I think last week it was Brett Guzik with the race win. He's going to have to go to the tail. It's going to be a tall order for Guzik to work his way back towards the front. I think you said earlier Derek Welch as well, or am I not correct on that?
Yeah, we've got Brett because of his win penalty last week, which, yeah, like you said, will be a blast to watch him come up from there. And then we've got the number 12, Kyle Morrison, number 1, Derek Welch, the 4 truck of Reed Sanders, number 5, Tristan Sykes, and number 81, Dan Storm, all coming from the back tonight.
Well, I think Tristan's actually in the stream chat tonight, so I don't think we'd worry about his EOL, but either way.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting to play some Madden with Fahey, so.
Again, those of you watching in the broadcast land, we're kind of experimenting with some different quality settings tonight. The last couple of races we've ran with them, they've been beautiful. It's turned out very well, though we are having some difficulties here tonight, so bear with us if things look a little choppy at some points tonight. We're trying something new. We are going to be switching to a faster internet service here at next race, so tonight will be the last race on the old school, slower internet, the snail internet, I guess you could call it, and we'll go from there.
Always improving. Here's the important question, Steve. It's pick time.
Oh, man. I'm going to go with, I know it's a long shot because he's starting in the back, but I'm going to go with Brett Guzik.
It's a pretty good one. I'm going to go with Sean Roberts. I think it's time for his bad luck to stop. He's going to take it tonight.
Outfield working on a turn 11 here. We're going to take the green flag. Barney's got that thing up in the wind, and he's waving it for all he's worth. We're racing here from the Glen. Sean Roberts cleanly through turn number 1. BJ Cox tucks into the second spot. Brandon Domain in third as they work up through the S's. The top 6 or 7 cars really got a good jump. Roberts with the race lead out of the carousel. Lap 1 still yet to be completed. PJ Cox in the second position. Brandon Domain, Chris Gones, Drew Blaze, your top 5. Some fast hands out here in the top 5 at the Glen. Out of turn 11, the 66 in command here. 1.4 seconds the advantage already. Just 1 lap in the books.
Pretty good start. Sean's been battling a bunch of issues lately between an injury and even mechanical issues, so it'd be great to see him have a good run tonight.
Yeah, Sean's been dealing with some sciatic nerve issues. Also, that combined with some legitimate braking issues with his system. The brake pedals that he's been working with, giving him some troubles. I think he's got that squared away. I think the sciatic nerve issues also taken care of, as he did run the most recent PFR Sports Car Championship race without too much of a problem. He had some issues getting a tight racetrack at Long Beach. But here at the Glen, it's a track that every one of these drivers really tends to know very well. It's been on the schedule for a very long time. It's a fast road course. I guess you could call Watkins Glen the super speedway of road courses when it comes to these trucks. But PJ Cox already cutting into that race advantage now. It was 1.4 at the stripe the last time by. It's 1.1 as they get into turn 10.
Yeah, PJ Cox definitely has what it takes to take the W tonight. He's really consistent too. We're going to see him probably keep up this pace and maybe give Sean a little battle here.
You're right on board with PJ Cox. Let's listen as he takes a lap around Watkins Glen. Cross start finish. Roberts actually stretches it back out to just shy of 1.4 once again. Again, I want to remind you guys, if you're just coming into the stream tonight, we're kind of experimenting with some quality settings with iRacing, OBS, and YouTube all at the same time. Some significant updates coming through. It's been rock solid the last couple of days, but here at the Glen, unfortunately, we're seeing a little bit of a frame drop issue coming in and out, so some of our onboard camera shots may seem a little choppy. Fastest lap so far, Sean Roberts, a minute 14:43. Brett Guzik with the EOL, he's already up into the 11th position. Yeah, we're only 4 laps in here of 45. It's effectively half the distance of a cup race, roughly 110 miles.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good thing for Brett here. He wants to get through this field as quick as possible. There's only local cautions tonight, so it's pretty much ready, set, go to the front as quick as possible for Brett.
Which, in all honesty, I mean, Watkins Glen, I mean, it's... Yes, tires are important, but what we have seen, at least over the course of the last couple of years, especially on the new surface here at the Glen, that's, well, not even that new anymore. It's certainly newer than it was when they dug it up, but tire wear, not as much of an issue as some might think. If you can take care of your stuff and not abuse your own tires, you can actually make some gambles on the pit stops and say, you know what, I'm not going to take tires. I think I'll be okay. I'm a good road racer. I'll make this work. Brett Guzik, certainly one of those guys that can do that as he cracks into the top 10 here.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Steve. I mean, your front tires, as long as you're not sliding them into the corner, they'll pretty much take care of you. And the rear tire is kind of the same thing. As long as you're not lighting them up like I do out of every corner, you'll be fine.
Sean Roberts maintains the top spot. PJ Cox now 1.45 seconds back as he works into the bus stop for another time. Roberts out of turn 10. You see PJ Cox there, Brandon Domain, Chris Goins up into P4, and then Drew Blaze still running in that 5th spot.
Kevin Blue in the stream chat. Sean Roberts needs a break. Hopefully he can pull off the win tonight. Yep, I agree. He definitely needs a break.
In all honesty, I'm really surprised Kevin Blue's not in this session here tonight. I know we haven't seen him a ton so far in this Truck Series season, but given that it's Watkins Glen, given that it's a road course, Kevin he's got some ability on the road courses. We saw him with a podium finish just recently there at Long Beach in the LMP2. I don't know. Why not jump in the truck here and see what you can put down? Maybe you can get another top 3.
Oh, yeah, he'd be up there for sure.
You can see the distance here. The top 2 separated by 1.4. That deficit's kind of staying the same, but they've got quite the advantage back to now 3rd place, Chris Goins, as he is taking care of Brandon Domain. Kevin Blue says, I'm not in this league this season. Well, one off, come on. I think we could have put a little collection plate together to get you to run this race.
Yeah, I mean, look how well it worked out for SVG.
Yeah, right? Guy traveled halfway across the world to come over to Chicago and win a cup race in his first effort.
Yeah, I think that guy's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a win at Chicago and then to come back to Indy and still finish top 10, I don't know. I mean, The temptation, of course, is to throw him right in the Cup car next season. I still don't think that's necessarily the great idea. But if anybody could get it done, I think Shane Van Gisbergen could certainly do it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Trackhouse pick him up. That's going to be a pretty good match, I think.
Checking on Drew Blaze, still in the 5th position. Started in P6. Again, was pretty quick in practice. We saw those lap times. I think he was up into the top 3 by practice end. Brian Shepard running in P6. He's also up 1 spot. Kevin Blue says, heck yeah, I'd take Sean to school. Easy to say when you're in the stream chat. And Brett Guzik, man, talk about fast. It's just, we've talked about this so much, it just proves iRating doesn't mean a damn thing. He's got a 1500 iRating on road courses, but he is so quick and just so consistent. I guess we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, myself, Zach, and Brett and Terry Crouch ran the iRacing Daytona 24 this season with Guzik in the car with us in the Mercedes. Very quiet, didn't talk a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot to say, no pissing and moaning, no complaining. But man, he was quick every single lap, within a 10th maybe every lap around, and he was great for us. And again, we came out with a podium finish at Daytona. He's been fast on the ovals. He's just quick just about everywhere we go.
Yeah, he's a wicked talent behind the wheel. Oh, as we see somebody slide off back there towards pit road entry.
Might have been Jared.
Yeah, Brett.
No, not Jared Haynes. Go ahead, Zach.
But yeah, Brett's he's like a robot. You know, he's just out there. He doesn't even say anything over the radio. He just get, head down, lap after lap, and like you said, Steve, he's within a 10th of his last lap time every lap around. So yeah, he's a machine for sure.
I think back to it, and he'd finish up his stint after not saying a word the majority of the stint. Like, all right, Brett, good job. And his response would be, all right, guys, we'll see you in a few hours. And then he'd disappear. That's it.
Yeah.
He's just a machine.
Yeah, you and I finish up our stint. We're breathing heavy. We're stressed straight out. We're just happy to be done for a little bit.
I need a gin and tonic just to calm down. Kevin Blue makes the same comment, too. Brett Guzik and I, referring to Kevin Blue, won the Sebring 12-hour with only 10x the whole race. Now, 10x, for those that don't know what he's referring to, 10x is incidents. That could be a contact with another race car on the racetrack. It could be getting the right sides too far or left sides too far into the grass, spinning the car out. Various different reasons to get those incident points, but 10x only in the course of a 12-hour race is extremely clean. That's really just how Brett Guzik runs. Kevin Blue is kind of the same way when it comes to that as far as endurance racing is concerned. Those guys certainly know how to get it done.
And especially at a place like Sebring.
Yeah, Sebring's tough. Very bumpy. It's difficult to be fast there. But they won the race. I mean, it wasn't just a podium. They took checkers. Now, I will say originally this race was scheduled for only 30 laps. The racing members in Lonestar Racing decided that just wasn't enough. It was too short of a race, so the admins decided, all right, well, we'll go 45, which is a pretty good middle ground. Again, we talked about it early in the broadcast. It's kind of half the distance of a Cup race. I know the Xfinity Series, when they run here in tandem with the Cup Series, it's 82 laps versus 90. I know the Truck Series ran here a couple of years ago as the 88 of Shepard goes around in turn 11. Maybe a little too hard on the brake. That's not typically what you see as the problem here in turn 11. Usually it's too early to the power and you push off and you get into the wall. Very odd situation for Brian Shepard. He gets back into it, though, running in the 8th position now.
Boy, you know what that looked like, Steve? That looked like maybe he missed his rev match going into second gear, and it just locked up those rear tires on him.
You know that? It could certainly be that, or just a matter of maybe he grabbed too many gears. You know, some guys, they're accustomed to just keeping it in third through that final corner. I'll be honest, I'm not one of them. I'm a second gear guy through 11. But he's got some damage he's trying to work through, it looks like, as he loses the spot now. He goes on by, so does Scott Beardmore in the 28 machine. He's lost a couple of spots, so Shepard's still sitting there in the 10th spot. I've just got to wonder if he's got some damage he's going to have to repair.
Boy, and like you said, Steve, maybe if he did double-click that downshift or went to first by mistake, that could actually give you some engine issues there, too, if he over-revved it.
Well, that's something you can be concerned with as well. I don't know. At the speed they're going between 10 and 11, if you grab the wrong gear, yeah, you still grab the wrong gear, but I think you might be okay. Just because it is so similar. You can run second or third through there. It just kind of depends, but you certainly don't want to buzz these truck motors to 10,000 RPM.
No, it's a good thing he's in a Chevy. He'll make it.
There you go. So Kevin Blue says, that's enough bragging for now. I don't know if he's talking about us or himself. He got the win. We just finished podium.
Right.
So Sean Roberts still in front of this field, but man, look at that deficit. It's not what it once was. It's half a second, just a couple of truck lengths from the 66 back to the 05 of PJ Cox. Again, working out of the carousel. This truck's running the short course, as it's so called. We talked about it in the open just a bit. This is effectively the original Formula One Grand Prix course before they built the boot section back in 1972. Added an extra mile to the race course, but prior to that, even guys like Peter Revson would even call this place a pretty straightforward racetrack. Again, only 7 official corners to contend with. It was fast, but not a lot of technical ability required to get around it. Yes, guys were fast, some were better than others, but you added that boot section, you got a whole mile to a race course. As we got a battle for the lead here into the S's. PJ Cox decides not to go side by side through turn 2 up the hill.
Probably a wise decision for PJ. It's just too tough of a spot to go through side by side.
Certainly a smart move on PJ Cox's part. It's early in the race, only 13 laps in. If he caught him the way that he did, again, he's down to less than half a second. He's going to have to set up a pass. The best place is really to do it, and we'll go in order here. Turn 1, obviously, it's a prime place to make a pass if you can set it up properly, but you really need to have a good run out of turn 11 to make that happen. So with all that said, you almost want to sacrifice your entry into turn 10 so that you can set yourself up for a really good exit on 11. If you're in a good position, you get a good run out of the carousel in turn 9, you can set up a pass in turn 10 if you choose to do so. It's not always the greatest place to do it because that corner does get kind of narrow, but you do have some wiggle room because there's a ton of runoff there if you happen to make a mistake. Kevin Blue makes a comment in the stream chat once again. Tires starting to fall off on the 66, though he is still running just a tenth shy faster per lap than PJ Cox. Sean Roberts ran minute 16:47. In fact, PJ Cox is 62, so Robert's still doing decent considering the tire age and the temperature he's built up into those Goodyear Racing Eagles. On board with Sean Roberts as he works down through the short chute from the carousel down into turn 10. He's been able to actually increase that advantage over PJ Cox. Remember, it was less than, well, say 4.5 tenths just about a lap ago. It's almost a second. Big wiggle out of Roberts on 11. Don't think he got a piece of the safer barrier on the exit of that corner. Still keeps a 1 second advantage over PJ Cox.
So hard to put the power down coming off turn 1 there on that rumble strip.
You know, It's very similar to what guys talk about driving short tracks. Pretend like there's an egg under that throttle pedal, and you don't want to break it. So 15 laps in here from Watkins Glen International of 45. We're going to jump out and get a quick break. We're going to get a couple of commercials out of the way, then go HBR TV side by side. But stay with us. You won't miss much. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marco Sgarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Watkins Glen International, green flag pit stops underway here, lap 18. Big change up here at the front of the field, except for the fact that Sean Roberts, after his pit stop, he's gone back to the point and has improved his best lap of the day. 1:14.27 for the number 66 Lehigh Valley Grand Prix machine.
Looks like Sean pulled a little bit of time in between himself and PJ through the pit stops, about
Yeah.
3 seconds.
Roberts' entry and exit certainly faster. He puts himself about 3.2 seconds ahead of the 05 of PJ Cox.
Almost looks like a little bit of damage on the driver's side of that Ford F-150.
Yeah, the left side scraped up just slightly. Not sure what has caused that.
I see the lap time. His last lap time was a 1:17.1. I just wonder if he got loose somewhere.
Again, bear with us, folks. A little bit of choppiness coming in through here. We're trying to play with the settings just a bit. Watkins Glen, actually a very recent scan here in iRacing, so the detail, well, it's great, but it allows for us to have to play with some settings just a bit, try and make it just perfect. Again, we're trying some new things here this week. First 2 races this week have gone excellent, no issues whatsoever, but man, Watkins Glen certainly tasking our systems. And, well, we're really not on the low end of things. We're not the highest end, but 3090 Ti and a 13th Gen i9 should be enough to get things done, but even still, we're having some issues. So Roberts still with a race lead and is extending that lead over PJ Cox. It's 5.3 seconds back to the 05. Chris Goins, after his pit stop, up into the top 3 still. 7.6 seconds back from Sean Roberts. Brett Guzik, remember the EOL that he had to start the race with? Well, he's already well into the top 5 in P4. 11 seconds shy of the race lead with about 25 laps to go.
And the cream always rises to the top, doesn't it, Steve?
It certainly does.
You know, for being a plain truck, I like that kind of Nardo gray / battleship looking truck. That looks sharp.
You know, I'm just really surprised that through the course of his successes here in the Lonestar Racing Truck Series, no one has picked him up with any kind of sponsorship. Again, the primer gray, a little bit of shine to it, but you got to get some decals on that thing. Laps to go, just over a 5-second advantage for Sean Roberts.
PJ Cox turning his fastest lap of the race so far. That last lap around, a 1:14.50.
Tristan Sykes in the stream chat says, Millet is a Nardo.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, it certainly could. Dan Storm, we thought he was coming to pit lane, but it looks like he just turns hard to the right to let PJ Cox get on by. See if he's as courteous to Chris Goins down into turn 1. Chris has to lock him up early. Takes the spot, but it looks like Storm may have locked up the brakes or at least checked up a lot sooner than Chris Goins had anticipated. Word from some of our spotters that the 52 machine of Tim Tokarski crashed early on. Oh, he's off in the grass in the carousel. Lucky for him, that section of the racetrack goes from grass to paved. Let's take a look, see what happened just a moment ago prior to that. This is down into turn number 1. Karski hard on the brakes, way too hot on entry. He goes way wide. I don't think he hits it. Oh, he does hit something. Gets into the tire pack.
He just had a lot of wheel into that thing.
Karski going to hit pit lane here with 23 laps to go. I just have to wonder if this is going to be his last stop or not. Haven't talked too much about Derek Welch here tonight. He's running in the 10th spot, up 3 positions from where he at least qualified. Again, Zach, I want to clarify, did he have the EOL at the start as well?
Yes, he did. And another thing about Derek, too, he recently got ran over by a forklift. And he's pretty much been driving with one leg the past, I don't know what it's been, maybe 4 or 5 weeks now. So he's still healing up, and he's out here ripping this thing around a road course. So big props to Derek.
Well, he's got to be healed up by now. 4 to 6 weeks, you're good to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Might have not been too heavy of a forklift. I don't know. Usually they're pretty darn solid.
It was a Tonka truck, let's be real.
Yeah, no big deal. Old Tristan Sykes in the stream chat. Millet wipes his hopper hits. It's an old paintball reference. Tristan Sykes' nickname, Tristan Double Knee Slide Sykes.
Sounds like Tristan's been doing some research.
Yeah, it's funny. We obviously met through racing an LSR and stuff, and just recently we saw that we both played paintball, and he actually still plays. So competitive paintball is one of the best sports out there, man. It's awesome.
Welch running way wide on the carousel, almost turned the truck around, keeps it straight down into turn 10.
Oof, a little wide through 10 there.
It's one thing that's nice about the Glen, though, is, and some would even maybe argue that it's not a nice thing, but the relatively recent upgrades to this racing facility, instead of having a giant sand trap at the end of turn 1, into the bus stop, and turn 10, has eliminated a lot of the risk to throwing it in there as hard as you can and seeing what happens. Now, if you go too wide in turn 10, turn 1, and even the bus stop, if you make a big mistake, you're not stuck there. You're not going to be parked waiting for a tow truck to drag you out. Just continue to drive. Yeah, you might lose some positions, but you're not going to be stuck there for a lap or two.
Yeah, I know you remember the grass just on the other side of the rumble strip in 10 there, too. And how scary was that when your right rear would touch that on exit?
Well, I don't want to date myself, but I remember grass from the exit of the curb all the way to the freaking tire barriers. No gravel, no nothing. I remember watching Ricky Rudd and Rick Mast in 2 separate incidences getting into turn 10, just destroying that Armco barrier. No brakes, going in there full speed, 150 miles an hour, and just walloping that barrier. Luckily, both drivers were okay, but yeah, a lot has changed here in the series since then. I mean, even if you come into those corners with no brakes, you talk about Jimmy Johnson in the Xfinity Series, then Busch Series back in the day, the number 92, I think it was an Altel car, very soon replaced by Excedrin headache medicine, considering how hard he hit. But I was personally sitting in the red, white, and blue grandstands in turn 2 when Jimmy went down into turn 1 with absolutely no brakes. He picked up on it right away, turned it hard right into the grass to try and at least shed some speed if he could, but he went up the banking in turn 1, what little there is, but it was enough to ramp him. He shot over the gravel trap, barely touched any of those pea gravel trap that was there, and went head on into that foam barrier. We all thought he died. And then he gets out of the race car and jumps up on the roof. So yes, a lot has changed here at Watkins Glen over the years in the interest of safety. Some would argue that, oh, well, you don't have to be as precise as you once did, considering the added runoff. You even talk about the runoff in the carousel, how you can just go so wide, 4 or 5 truck lengths, or truck widths, that is, wide on the carousel. Personally, it drives me absolutely crazy that they do that. There's no reason to be out there. If it was any other series that runs a road course, they'd say, nope, you're not doing that. But I guess NASCAR's got their prerogative. It is what it is.
Track limits, Max. Track limits.
Yeah, right. And it's not so much, okay, let's narrow it down to inches. You know, oh, you went one tire width over the curb, we're going to penalize you 3 seconds post-race. No, but you're 4 car widths to the other side of the curb.
Yeah.
Got to find some happy medium there, personally. But I guess that's just the road racer in me. But either way, they still put on a decent race.
I was going to say, I tell you, watching Larson just swing over that curb, and I mean, you can tell he's just wide open the whole time, and watching that car dance back and forth and him be able to drive it, it's incredible. But going back to that grass, Steve, you know, that's something that a lot of friends, when they try iRacing for the first time, they're always wondering, how come I get on the grass and it feels like I'm actually going faster? I can't stop. But then you watch some of these cars in real life, you know, once they hit the grass with those hot racing slicks, they do the same darn thing.
And in essence, no, they're not actually going faster. You know, if you look at the situation where, okay, you're on the brakes and then you get in the grass, yeah, it might feel like you're going faster because based on your proximity on the racetrack to where you would normally be, you're going much faster than you should be because, well, those tires are not going to grip up the way they should in the grass. But you just keep it on the pavement. Keep it between those white lines. You'll be just fine.
Be just fine.
19 to go here for Watkins Glen International. Sean Roberts, I'm pretty sure has led every one of them to this point. Started outside front row, but was at the point right away. BJ Cox running in second, Chris Goins in third, Brett Guzik, Brandon Domain the top 5. Roberts out to a 4-second advantage over second place running PJ Cox. Cox in some lap traffic. Justin Johnson, certainly not a huge fan of road racing, but well, he's put it on the schedule. I certainly appreciate him for doing that, but he's not a fan.
No, he's looking smooth tonight, though. I'm watching him over on the screen there, LSR Gaming X on Twitch, and yeah, it's a good race so far for him.
Justin running in the 21st position, not on the lead lap. But that's really the thing when it comes to these series that typically run ovals prior to anything else. They might throw, you know, 1 or 2 road course races into the mix, but that's just not your forte. You don't have the repetition, the laps on the road courses. A lot of guys just don't like it. Even go back to the day 20 plus years ago, even in the Cup Series, you had guys that just, you know what, I'm not going to run this. I'm going to have a different driver. I'll start the race, but I'm going to come down and someone else is going to take over so I can get the points. You don't see that anymore. You got guys, especially over on the Hendrick Motorsports side of things, they really put the effort in to try and improve their craft when it comes to road course racing. There's, 6 road courses on the Cup schedule these days, so you've got to be a good road racer to be a contender for the championship. You can't just rely on, I'm really good at intermediate tracks. Okay, that's great, but you still got 6 road courses to contend with, and if you're dog due on those other 6 tracks, there's no sense in even talking about your playoff run.
You know, Steve, to be honest, I was kind of hoping somebody would want a sub-lap one, because I know it's kind of a long run from the booth up here down to turn 11 over the bridge, rather, and into the garage area, but I'd do it.
I wonder if the leagues would open up the availability to do that, as long as the driver just kind of go old school with it. Primary driver qualifies the car and starts the race, and pull down pit lane just like we do with endurance racing, the 24 hours of Daytona to be specific. Swap drivers and go from there. I think that would be kind of a neat thing to see, because then you can get to watch the road racing ace jump into the race car, albeit maybe from last place on the field, who knows. See if they can work their way through the field and hunt down the leader, and see if they can put the challenge on to a guy like Sean Roberts, who's here running, I'm pretty sure, the full season. Brett Guzik now down pit lane.
This looks like it's going to be Brett's last stop for the race here.
Yeah, with 16 to go, I would imagine he's going to try and stretch it to the finish.
Now for Brett, the only bad thing is if he would come out into traffic. That would be the only thing kind of against the strategy here, but I think he's got enough pace to really get around anybody.
Yeah, I think he's okay. There's a handful of cars that may become a problem here as he exits pit lane. 2, 3. He's going to come out ahead of them. He's got a couple out in front of him, but I think he'll be just fine. This could work out pretty good.
Yeah, and if I'm Sean Roberts and PJ Cox, I'd be watching this right now, and I might even come in this lap or the next lap because he's going to be coming pretty quick on the new set of tires.
Yeah, and Sean Roberts certainly, and there it is, falling off.
There it is. Comes
down pit lane here. Going to be 15 to go as he crosses the stripe. PJ Cox is going to take over the race lead.
I think this is a good move by Sean. I think he's in it to win it tonight.
Roberts has had some pretty terrible luck in the PFR Sim Sports Sports Car Championship as of late. Kind of saw that the same last season. He's got pace out there, but just rotten luck.
I hate to jinx him tonight, but boy, it's been a pretty well put together race for him. He can just put the laps together and keep doing what he's doing. I think it should be enough.
So as it stands right now, PJ Cox, Chris Goins, Sean Roberts, the top 3. Roberts making his pit stop just recently here, lap 30. He's good to go to the end. With all that said, though, we're going to jump out and get our final HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. We'll be back after this. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Watkins Glen in trouble at the top of the S's out of turn number 4. Kevin Winker, I think that may have been. Gets into the Armco, doesn't collect anybody else. We stay under the green flag. Again, local yellow only. Seem to have gotten away with one here. That was a tough place to have an incident. Winker back into the 13th position. He's up 8 spots on the day.
Oh, I hate to see it. Especially this late. See if he comes around here, dives it in, takes that quick fix.
I don't think he will. I mean, I doubt he's got a meatball. He's got a tiny bit of left front damage. 12 laps to go. I don't know. I can't imagine. If I was the crew chief here, I'm saying stay out. He stays out. This all happening in front of the race leaders? No, not the case. Brett Guzik, though, in second. Guzik 5.3 seconds back from Sean Roberts here, the race leader. Guzik from last to second so far. 11 laps remaining. I don't know, Zach, do you think he can make it? Does he have enough time to reel in Roberts and then take that top spot?
I think he's got enough time to do it. It's just come down to how much he wants to push this truck. I don't know if we've seen him really push it yet. And I mean, yeah, we got almost 10 to go. It's going to be time to go.
I mean, last lap for Guzik was a minute 15.9. Roberts ran almost 8/10 faster.
I think that was because of some checking up maybe for this lap truck, but we'll see at the next couple laps if the lap times are, get a little closer to each other.
Yeah, when that issue happened, top of the S's a lap ago. We'll see what this one looks like for Guzik if he's any faster than Sean Roberts.
Yeah, and Guzik even passed that truck. Forget which turn it was, but let's see.
Back to the stripe, a minute 15.63 for Roberts. Guzik, a minute 14.8. 10 to go. Roberts better run for his life.
And you better just rip that mirror off the windshield and throw it in the back of the truck.
Yep, don't even bother looking at what's out the back window here. Just race the racetrack till this thing's over. He's got a shot, but man, the deficit now less than 4 seconds. Back to Brett Guzik. There's some lap traffic still involved there, but I don't know. It's not going to take long for Brett to work around that. Justin Johnson there in the number 10 machine, the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro into the bus stop yet again. Now, if you watch that closely there, Guzik inches away from that Armco barrier on entry to the bus stop. That is exactly how you are supposed to do it. Get as close to that barrier as you can without hitting it. Set up your truck nice and straight for entry for that left-hand turn. Keep it to the inside the best that you can, then another left, and then straighten that truck out for that right-hander the best you can. And then honestly, it's hammer down into the carousel, even for that short jaunt from the bus stop into the corner. Then get it as low as possible, get the right sides just onto that orange and red curbing. There's a lot of grip right there, especially in the carousel.
Yeah, and it's the little things too, Steve. In the middle of the bus stop, he checked up just a little bit, just so he didn't get right on the bumper of Justin Johnson's truck. So he had the inside run going into the carousel. Just smart driving.
Really does make for a smoother exit too. If you don't just ride up the back of the guy you're trying to pass, even though he's slower, you can still maintain a better lap time if you sacrifice on the entry, you can get the power down, just like you do on an oval. Back up your entry to the corner, get on the throttle sooner than you typically would. It really does make for a better lap, even here on the road course.
Almost a full second faster that last time around.
What do they say? Apex and exits? Apex and exits.
Lots of traffic here.
Deficit to Guzik now less than 2 seconds with 9 to go. I think Roberts might be in trouble. He's got 3 or 4 trucks in between himself and Guzik. That's going to help his cause. Roberts gained a little bit of time on Guzik there. It's over 2.1 seconds now through the carousel. Lap traffic coming into play here. The next on the docket there from Guzik is going to be Chris Klein.
It's almost like a GT3 race all over again, Steve. Getting through traffic here is everything. Nice clear track ahead of Sean right now, though.
I think Chris Klein's going to be the next one for Guzik to go around. Klein was trying to open the door for Guzik there, but he wasn't close enough to take advantage of the offering.
Yeah, Chris is a good driver, too. You'll see him move over.
Tough part is going through the S's. There's not a whole lot of room to go side by side, but Guzik goes to the inside in turn 2. Klein goes way wide, gives him the spot, as you predicted.
Yeah, it's good driving by Chris's part there. Let the leader battle it out.
So less than 7 laps to go. Sean Roberts, dominant performance here tonight. Certainly the most laps led, but Brett Guzik starting from the rear, certainly one of the best road racers out here in this field. He's trying to reel in the 66. 2.3 seconds the advantage for Roberts, coming to 6 laps to go.
This is where we're going to see the raw pace difference between these two trucks. Nice clear track for everybody. As Sean kind of misses the apex a little bit there, but we're going to see what these lap times look like.
But even saying that, the last time by, Guzik was a 16.19 to Roberts' 15.62. Now Roberts runs a 16.03. Guzik goes 15.7. So Guzik has the pace, but I think it's just a matter of clear track that he is in need of, and he's not getting it as of late. Now, clear sailing between himself and Sean Roberts as they work up through the S's. Oh man, look at that deficit come down though. 1.75, 1.7, and still coming down here, down the back straightaway. Guzik maximizing his pace up through the S's. That's how you gain time here at the Glen.
Yeah, Sector 1 looking very good for Guzik compared to Roberts' time.
Derek Welch out of this one says, nope, foot's not having it. I guess he's still trying to fight the issues with his injuries from that forklift incident from earlier this month. Roberts runs way wide out of turn number 10. That's going to allow Guzik to close the gap even further. 1.3 seconds with 5 laps to go. Roberts is in trouble. Roberts maintaining 1.4 seconds of an advantage over Brett Guzik. On to turn number 4. I don't know, Zach. Do you think Brett's got enough to catch him?
Absolutely. I think Brett's just kind of managing the gap here. I think he's kind of keeping his tires at a good temp here, and then he's going to make a final drive for it here, maybe with like 3 to go.
Does he have enough to pass him once he gets there?
I think so. Brett's he's pretty talented. I bet you he's going to set the pass up, and it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Well, we'll see how defensive Sean Roberts is in those passing zones as this race comes to its conclusion. We're working through turn 10 and 11 here, and then we'll see 4 laps to go.
That's the thing, yeah. Sean Roberts is a heck of a road course racer, so he knows how to take those defensive lines. Oh, tough spot for a lap truck there. Brett's going to pull it in big time.
Yeah, less than a second now. 8 tenths, going to be 3/4 of a second at the stripe. But yeah, just as we were saying here, I mean, if Roberts, again, he's a road racer, he understands how this stuff works. He can sacrifice a ton of lap time and kind of force Guzik to do the same just by taking away that preferred lane into each corner. He's got to be smart about it because there's opportunities, left and right for Guzik to make the pass, and man, he's right there. 1/4 second down the back straightaway, the big run. Oh, and Roberts gets in the grass on the exit of 4, setting him up for the bus stop. Is he going to make the move? Looks to the inside. He's smart enough not to. Tough place to make a pass. You really got to be sure you can make it stick for that one to pay off. Still 4 laps to go, though. Guzik knows he's got plenty of opportunity before this one's over.
Lots of time left in this one.
Sean Roberts. Go ahead, Zach.
That's the thing about road course racing, though, Steve. You know, you really got to set that pass up. It might take a few corners, even a full lap to do it. So you just got to love it.
Well, we talked about that earlier in the broadcast, too. It's like if you want to make a good pass down into turn number 1, that's great. But you have to start that setup truthfully on the entry to turn 10. You might want to sacrifice your entry into that corner so that you can set yourself up for a really good turn 11 to get you down the main straightaway into 1. If that doesn't happen, you're not going to make that pass. But Guzik, he's solid everywhere we go, and less than the truck length off the back bumper of Sean Roberts here, with less than 3 laps to go.
That's been really strong here coming down this stretch to the bus stop. We'll see. Doesn't look like he's quite close enough to try anything here, though.
Guzik has really maximized his pace through turn 1, up through the S's, down the backstretch before the entry to the bus stop. That really is the key to the success here at Watkins Glen International. Sean Roberts, though, he's got the control. He's in front of this field. He can choose where to place his truck. He can throw off Guzik, get into different parts of the racetrack that he hasn't been running all day. We talked about class racing and endurance races with LMP2 and GT3, how you have to set up the pass to get around those guys knowing they're that much slower. You can really screw a guy up by running a different lane. As Guzik goes to the inside at 11, and there's contact. Roberts goes around. Guzik up into the fence as well, and PJ Cox goes to the race lead. Coming to 2 to go. Chris Gones gets into Sean Roberts.
Just bad to worse for Sean Roberts here. PJ Cox couldn't be happier, but
with all that said, though, I just don't know if that was a too early of a move for Brett Guzik. He knows he was faster. He knows he has the advantage. You just got to force Roberts into a mistake. You don't got to make contact. You saw Guzik, it looked like he locked up the rear tires on entry to 11, trying to maintain not getting contact with Roberts, but contact was made, and around they went.
You hate to see it too, Steve. It would have been a great battle right down to the line, but I think Brett would have been better off kind of waiting until turn 1. Of course, it's easy for us up here in the booth to say that. You're not, in the heat of the moment, but yeah, to maximize your run out of 11, get the run down to turn 1, it's so much easier to outbrake somebody there.
How many times have we said it in this broadcast alone? You've got to set up your 10 and 11 if you want to make the pass into turn number 1. Turn 11 is not a premier place to pass. I get it. If you're coming to the checkered flag and it's your last opportunity, that's a move I would expect. But with coming to 2 to go, I don't know. I don't think that's a great move. White flag in the air.
PJ Cox, licking his chops here. Coming to the white flag. Let's do it.
He's got to make one more clean lap here. He's still got 2.3 seconds over the 04 of Guzik. Again, even with that contact, Guzik still a threat for this race win. PJ's got to be careful, take care of his stuff. Again, he ran a 16:40. Brett Guzik was a 16:03, even on that last lap. So hopefully he's got enough of a deficit back to him. He'll be okay here. 1.8 seconds the advantage for the 05 as he works out of the S's in turn 4 down the back straightaway for the final time.
You could see that Battleship gray truck just sending it up that hill. Deficit just disappearing quick here.
Gained 4/10 just through the bus stop, and actually PJ's gaining it through the carousel on exit. Relatively equal down the short chute. 2 more corners to go.
Just a clean 2 corners, and PJ will have this wrapped up.
Doesn't need to rush, doesn't need to force the issue, and he doesn't. He stays to the left side of the curbing on turn 10. Guzik goes way wide. Oh, and he's in the fence. He might lose second place out of this. Checkered flag in the air. PJ Cox is going to win the HBR TV 45 at the Glen. Guzik still come home in P2, and Chris Gones locks up a solid podium finish in 3rd.
Chris Gones, no practice, great podium. Hate to see that for Sean Roberts. Bad luck just goes from bad to worse. PJ Cox, what a win.
Tommy Welch says if there was one more lap, Guzik would get it again. I don't know. Even at 4/10 a lap faster, PJ Cox still had a 1.4 second advantage. Guzik would have had to run an amazing qualifying lap just to catch the 05. And then he overdrove it into 11, put it into the safer barrier. That certainly didn't help his cause. As it stands, PJ Cox wins by a margin of victory of 4.59 seconds. PJ Cox out of Somerset, Kentucky, taking the race win here at the Glen.
Burn her down, PJ. You earned it.
Gives up on the burnout. PJ Cox over and done with. We're going to step out here, get a final break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marco Scarza when
hopefully we'll be up front and we'll flip the quarter and see how it lands.
Well, PJ, again, congratulations on the race win here at the Glen. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Lonestar, Justin, Drew, and all those guys. They put a lot of time into this stuff, and it's probably hands down one of the best leagues that I've been a part of. Good group of guys, good racing, and I really can't thank them enough. Appreciate you guys. You guys do a heck of a job up there too.
Well, PJ, again, thanks for talking to us. Certainly wish you the best of the luck next week at Talladega.
All right, thanks, man.
PJ Cox, your race winner here at the Glen. We're going to pull Brett Guzik up into the broadcast booth next. Our runner-up finisher, certainly one of the fastest drivers out there tonight, just came up a little bit short after contact with Sean Roberts. Brett, Steve, and Zach in the booth. You got us?
I've got you guys.
Brett, congratulations, man. Again, P2, certainly not where you wanted to finish tonight, but having to start at the back, you had your work cut out for you this evening. You tried to make the pass for the lead there with a couple of laps to go on Sean Roberts. Contact was made there in 11. Why don't you walk us through that incident there late?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it kind of all started there in the beginning. I just tried to pace myself going, as fast as I felt like I could. Getting through the pack, not so much traffic was really helping me at all in any way. And then eventually we got there at the right time. I noticed that coming out of the pits we were like, 5 or 6 seconds behind, and I knew I had to do something like half a second faster the last stint, like average, to get to them. And we were making that, especially on the long runs. It felt like I could keep the rear tires on it a little bit better than most people. And kind of come into the last, I think it was the second to last lap. Most drivers usually fade over to the left there going into that last corner. And I just committed to the right, and I got up alongside them. And it pretty much held my line the whole time. I was wheel hopping, but at least it was on line. And unfortunately, we kind of got together there, and he came across your nose a bit, but that's all you can really do coming from the back, and just a good run. It was quite a bit of fun being able to just kind of whip the car around, just on full tilt the whole time, trying to get to the leader, and ultimately that's what it's for, is just having fun.
Well, it was certainly a fun one to watch, watching you work yourself from the rear of the field all the way up into P2, almost taking that checkered flag here tonight. Next week, we go to Talladega Super Speedway. You've been fast just about everywhere we go this season. Talladega can certainly be the equalizer for many drivers. How do you feel about your chances next week?
I would say, even though I consider myself pretty savvy at the ovals and even this road course stuff, I feel like I'm just as savvy, or if not even more savvy, on the super speedways. So I guess look out next week, and we'll be charging towards the front on that last lap.
No EOL to contend with either, so keep an eye out for Brett Guzik to try and pick up a win next week. Brett, congratulations again on P2 here at the Glen. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody who puts us on. LSR, I'd like to thank you guys, HBR TV. Steve, you've been, you've seen me in a few of your races, and I've even raced with you a few times, so it's always good to see you guys broadcasting and, keeping this thing alive.
Certainly good to have you out there, Brett, man. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck next week at Dega.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Brett Guzik, your second place finisher here at the Glen. We're going to pull Chris Goins up into the broadcast booth and get a word with the driver of the Popple machine. Chris Goins at Stephen Millett in the booth. You got us? Nope, can't hear you at all. Try it again.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Barely. Let me see if I can turn you up here in the headphones. Give it a shot. Test 1, 2.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Sounds like you're talking from a distance, but we can hear you, so we'll just turn down the music. Third place finish here for Chris Goins. Started P5, moved yourself up a couple of positions. I think you led a lap or two. Tell us about your afternoon here at Watkins Glen.
Really quiet, actually. Just hanging out. I didn't really pass anybody, pass too many people, other than some lap traffic. Just kind of drove my race and tried to keep it clean and make it to the end, and luckily it all worked out.
Chris, we know that you certainly spend some time running a lot of road course series in the official iRacing series in IMSA. How does that apply over here to the truck series when it comes to road course racing, especially here at the Glen?
With these trucks, I would say that it doesn't. For me, it a lot of it doesn't transfer much, other than knowing the track. I mean, track orientation, obviously, but these are completely different. I mean, different braking points, on throttle time, the wheel hop. I mean, those are all things that you don't really see as much, if at all, in the GT side of things. But certainly helps with track orientation, kind of giving you an idea of the layout, where not to hit, what curbs you can hit, not hit, things like that. But I've run these things quite a bit on the road course too, so that experience obviously helps more than anything else.
Well, I mean, your road course background, as far as you've been running the official iRacing IMSA series, it's got to help to some extent. I mean, you finished top 3 here tonight. You had a decent run in qualifying. It has to apply to some extent. I know the cars that you're typically in, whether it's GT3 or LMP2 or what have you, certainly night and day different than the NASCAR Truck Series, but it still applies to some extent, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, I a little bit. I mean, just corner entry and exit. I mean, on road courses, across the board, no matter what you're driving, what I live by is kind of the slow in, fast off type deals, especially places like this that has the long straightaways. If you are hot getting into one, and you're going to sacrifice a ton of speed going up the hill in the S's, so that transfers from all across different road racing. So I mean, kind of learning that, whereas the oval side, you've got the long sweeping corners, you can kind of attack the corners a little bit more aggressively at entering, but with here, I mean, kind of training yourself to that slow in, fast off certainly helps.
Well, Chris, again, congratulations on a podium finish here at the Glen. Next week, we're at Talladega. You've shown some promise on the super speedways as well. How do you feel about your chances next week?
I hate super speedway racing. I have no luck. I mean, I generally, I mean, I say have speed, but everybody's in a pack that's within a second of each other. We all have speed, but I can push, I can be pushed. I just have terrible luck. So we'll see. We'll have the lucky rabbit's foot in our pocket next week and see what happens. But hopefully we can, squeak out. If I finish in the top 10 in the Super Speedway, I'm happy.
Chris Goins looking for a golden horseshoe next week down in Alabama. Again, congratulations, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Appreciate it, guys. I want to thank Popple for being the primary sponsor, Stivers Automotive Group, my guys over at Right Turn Racing, you and Millet, obviously, for putting the broadcast on and doing. You guys do such a great job here. LSR guys for putting on the league. I look forward to it, each and every week, even if I make it with 7 minutes left in qualifying.
Well, Chris, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week at Talladega.
I appreciate it, guys.
Chris Goins, your third place finisher here at the Glen. Let's take a look at our race results on the evening. Of course, PJ Cox, your race winner, picking up the scraps with just a couple laps to go. Brett Guzik, worst to first, not to be, finishes in P2. Chris Goins was third. Sean Roberts, tough break for him. Dominating performance here tonight. Led the most laps, finishes in fourth. Brandon Domain was fifth. Drew Blaze, didn't see a whole lot of Drew tonight, but he had some pace in practice. Still had a solid finish, finishes P6. Chris Watkins was 7th. Mike Fahey in the Saranac machine. He finishes 8th this evening. Brian Shepard was 9th. Chris Klein 10th. Kevin Winker finishes in the 11th spot. Scott Beardmore 12th. Kevin Grettenberger was 13th. Mitchell Howell 14th. Heath Snyder was 15th. David Dufour was 16th. Jared Haynes 17th. 18th went to Ken Couch. 19th place finisher was Justin Johnson in the 10. He was 2 laps down. Dan Storm 20th. Derek Welch gave up early here, still battling some of his lingering injury issues. He stepped out just a bit too soon here, finishes 21st. Tim Tokarski was 22nd. Randy Coaching 23rd. Jonathan Arnn 41 laps down, finishes in the 24th position. Got to thank all you guys for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't already done so, check us out, hbrtv1.com. It's been a little hectic here lately. We haven't got a whole lot of updates there, but we will get back to that soon. You'll be able to catch the live link, some race photographs, even some logos for you painters out there. Check us out there. We do appreciate it. It's been a busy month over at HBRTV1. And then give us a like, a follow, a share, and subscribe on the YouTube channel where we do 99% of our broadcasting, youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. The likes, I'm telling you guys, that's the most important part of the broadcast. Hit the like button every time you tune into an HBR TV race. That's what makes the difference. It gets it in front of some new eyeballs that maybe haven't seen or heard of HBR TV, or even more so, haven't heard of LSR Racing, the Lonestar Racing Truck Series. So it helps us, it helps you. It's a plus across the board. Give us those likes the best that you can. We do appreciate it. For that, I'm Steve Singer with Zach Millett, congratulating PJ Cox for a thrilling late race victory here at the Glen. We'll see you guys next week at Talladega.